What's going on, everybody? My name is Tamar Turner, and I'm the host of the Down to Business podcast, where the mission is to really provide exposure to businesses, entrepreneurs, and artists all around the world in their respective crafts. And we do so through audio and visual interviews where we come on and we talk about all things from getting into the business to most memorable moments to even some advice that you may give for other business owners and entrepreneurs out there. So if this sounds like something that you would be interested in, we'd love to have you on for an interview. Please be sure to reach out via any social media platform and we'll definitely get back to you. But until then, enjoy this episode. All right, what's going on, everybody? I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner. And I feel like eventually, I'm gonna have to reach out to Clubhouse, become like an ambassador, an advocate, a spokesperson or something, just because I'm really, I'm a big supporter of the app right now as somebody who kind of first came on with a lot of skepticisms, a lot of just uncertainties and everything like that, just from the outside looking in. But now, really just being able to be a part of the community, be a part of, so many different dope conversations, meet so many different individuals, connect with them. One of which is on today. I'm sitting down with Rachel. I'm really excited. She was somebody who we were able to join the same room. And just since she heard me talk and reached out, and then not too long after she reached out, I was then able to hear her talk about what she does in her platform and everything that, she's involved in. So I'm really excited to be sitting down with her. So Rachel, how you doing today?
I'm feeling fabulous. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I can never complain. So for everybody out there, tuning in, some of your followers, some of my followers, some mutuals in between, for those who may not know you, for those who may know about you, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and then what brings you on the Down to Business podcast today?
Yeah, for sure. So I am currently based in New Jersey, East Orange, New Jersey. I am currently a full-time creative. So just released my first short story. I'm currently working on my second. But I think what most people know me for as a creative is singing. I do have a band and I was performing pretty frequently in New York City prior to the pandemic. But, once that happened, I went more in the direction of writing.
I got you for sure. And it's actually ironic. And I don't even think that we spoke about this when we were first able to connect. But the fact that you're based in East Orange, my uncle and my aunt actually live out there. My parents were actually married in East Orange, New Jersey.
Really?
So that's, very small world. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I definitely do like to hear that. I haven't been in quite some time. But yeah, I was born in the Bronx and then I was raised in Philadelphia. I left when I was 2. So yeah, I definitely am very familiar with the tri-state area, just between New York, New Jersey, and PA, just the same. So I do love to hear, just the journey, just the creative journey, just everything that you're involved in. Something that really stood out to me just first and foremost was were the short stories. Now, for these stories, as someone, who just loves to write myself, loves public speaking, just loves every bit of that, just loves the freedom, just the creativity behind just being able to really I used to love writing, from fictional stories just to just daily events in my day, just to journaling and different things like that. So with your short stories and what you do specifically, does it follow like a specific genre? Do you highlight specific themes, or is this really just kind of how you're thinking, how you're feeling in the moment?
Good question. So the first short story that I wrote and published, I published it in December, early December. I believe it was December 2nd. And to be honest, I really didn't set out to write a short story. I do write a lot, but, mostly in the form of songs and poems. And I initially thought that this was going to be another poem. It actually the opening line of the short stories is 12:24 a.m. And it literally was 12:24 a.m. when I started writing. I couldn't sleep. Lately, I just have been up. Like, the later it is, I'm just up. So, and that's when a lot of the creativity comes. And so I initially thought, okay, this is going to be a poem. And then I just kept writing and writing. So it's fictional, although there's some truth to it in the sense that the main character, whose name is Aisha, so basically the story is about centers around family and childhood trauma. And that's something that I've dealt with. So I really modeled that character after myself in that way, as someone who's had to deal with, childhood trauma and looking to heal those things in order to be the best version of myself.
I love that. I love to hear that. I love how sometimes, it may not always be the best experience. Sometimes it is it can be traumatic. It can be things that, made or break us. But I love to hear how sometimes people go through things and go through face adversity, face different obstacles along the way, but they don't let that break. Instead, they turn that into something, or they serve as a resource for, others, because other people, coming in contact with your work, coming in contact with your stories, who may have similar backgrounds or may, just have been through something. You could really, be speaking to them, be serving as a resource, be serving as an outlet for them, to people who love to read, just the same way you love to write. And you kind of just, like you said, you couldn't sleep. So you really just, you just started going, and, your mind's racing and everything is kind of just coming one thing at a time. So you could definitely, be helping somebody out there, whether they reach out to you or not. So I definitely do encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. Oftentimes our circumstances can definitely have an impact on us, whether it be positive or negative, but to, just to continue to move forward and progress with that. I think that that's a testament to your character as well. So you also too mentioned in being a creative with your short stories, you also mentioned that a lot of people know you for your band. So can you just tell us a little bit about the band, from just the name to how you guys kind of came together, and what it was like, being able to perform pre-pandemic, and how that experience was for you?
Sure. So the band doesn't have a name in that I perform as Rachel Burrell and the band backs me. And it's usually guitar, bass, drum, and sax. And, I started performing at a very early age in church, but my background really started out in poems and poetry. And as I got into the latter years of high school and going into college, I started writing a lot more. And in the latter part of high school, I got involved in musical theater. And I just love the feeling of being on stage and and connecting with people. And so that's what singing and performing enables me to do. It's really to connect with people in a real way. I mean, a lot of my songs are, I would say, they're centered around, love and, real life issues, breakups, things like that, and real life things happening around the community. I'm always wanting to connect with people in a real way and relate to people in a real way. So that's what a lot of my writing and my singing focuses on. But yeah, when we take the stage, it's raw soul, like just straight soul. I think because I have been through a lot, the soul always comes through on that stage.
Wow. I love that. The fact that, you take that, it's very similar to how I feel. You just want to be able to connect with people. And I love that you use a platform that way, similar to kind of how I do it with, not only with my podcast, but I would say even before this. Like, I just always loved the idea. And I even spoke about it on episodes prior, just being able to talk to people, just being able to have conversations, just being able to network. You can really just meet so many dope individuals throughout your life, who have stories, who have experiences, who you can even learn from, and vice versa. So I really do love that. Now, and that even leads me to kind of want to follow up with you about that. So now, with taking this approach with your music, with really talking about real issues, with really talking about things that you've really battled, things that you're experiencing and have experienced, do you feel like that has allowed you to take a different approach to your music, to your creative process?
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, the second book that I'm working on now, it's centered around how, I'm sure a lot of us have heard this saying, turn your mess into your message. It really is about how I decided to take charge, and say, yes, these are the things that I've gone through, but I can't let those things only define me. The truth is, it's easy to say, well, I've been through these hardships, so you can't really blame me for being this way. And at some point, it's like, okay, yes, I've been through that. And now what? When do I take control of the narrative? And so, yeah, I think for me, like the things that I've gone through initially, I kind of didn't want to open up about, and I'll be opening up a lot more in the book. So I don't want to, on the one hand, give too much away, but I have been a bit more candid about, moments of struggling through like depression and just feeling very unfulfilled, right? And what taking my narrative my story into my hands and taking the power, I've been able to be vulnerable, because one thing that I've realized through performing is that sometimes you feel alone, but once you open up, you realize you're not alone. And someone else might be feeling like they're alone. And then when you open up, they're like, oh, I'm not alone either. So, yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is just to be honest. Like I want to be someone that people expect honesty from, and how I carry myself and through my work. But, you never know. I might throw in some fun party songs in there too. But as of now, it's been very like centered around life and love and better days and triumph.
I'm actually really glad that I brought you on the podcast because you said that many people have heard that saying about turning a mess into a mess. I have never heard that before. So
Really?
I definitely, needed to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like never, ever. So I actually wrote it down. I like that. So I like that
Mm-hmm.
a lot. That's one of my gems that I'm going to definitely keep in the tuck because, yeah, I never heard that one. But no, I definitely do agree with you on that. I almost think of it as a battle of vulnerability in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, just when thinking about, sometimes it's hard to want to open up about things, especially open up about things that you really don't know if somebody else out there can relate to, if people will understand, if people will, sometimes we don't open up and sometimes we don't talk about things just because we don't know if the person on the receiving end or the listening end will even be know what will know what to say. Sometimes it can really just be a bad experience when you entrust someone with something, or you kind of vent, or you're vulnerable to someone and you kind of leave out almost feeling a little bit worse or not any change than kind of before you said anything at all. So it's almost kind of like, what's the point, or
Mm-hmm.
what's it, what
Yes,
have
we're
you.
actually on the same
But
train of thought there.
yeah, so it's one of those things where it's just like sometimes we really just don't know, and it can be one of those things where you have to take that big step. You have to almost get over that hump, get over that hill to really just say that, look, this is my story. This is with timing, of course. I'm not necessarily saying that everything that you go through or everything that happens to you, you just have to want to talk about it. You have to want to disclose it. But no, when you put yourself into that space, when you're comfortable enough to make yourself that vulnerable, you really don't know what can come from it. From somebody else, just being able to relate to that story, from somebody else just being able to serve as a resource for you being able to even, hey, I'm going through that right now. Do you have any kind of like thing that helped you get through, or any, you never really know what type of resource you can serve for somebody else out there from just sharing your story, from just sharing your experience. So I really encourage people out there, as hard as it may be, just to vent, just to be vulnerable, just to sometimes just to talk about certain things. I really do
Oh
encourage, and
yeah, it's
with
it's
time,
not
with
easy.
comfort, and not at all, not at all. And that's why I even say too, with time and
Mm-hmm.
with comfort, because everybody's, comfort level, everybody's vulnerability level is a little bit different. Some people just can't do that. Some people, no matter how hard they try, some things are just that bad. Some people just sometimes don't even really know just where to start or what to do
Right.
or anything like that. So I definitely do like that, you place yourself in this position, and then I do like the outcome from it, that people were saying that, wow, this is something that I can relate to, or this is something that I really love to do. So just in thinking about, you as a creative, what you do, where you are right now, how would you say that the pandemic, everything that's going on, with everything that we've experienced from last year to this current date now in 2021, how has that really shaped what you do, your craft and yours? I know you were saying a lot before you were performing, and so some things, kind of had to change and alter that way. But would you say that this enhanced your creative process? Have you been feeling more motivated throughout everything that's been going on? What has that really been like for you?
Good question. Something that I see a lot of creatives saying that I relate to is that, it fluctuates. There are days when I truly just want to lay there and not move and create. And then, there are other days where I'm completely inspired and I just can't stop writing. I have to say, I this is the most that I've written in a while. Lately, I've been on just this writing spree. I mean, I'm also in the middle of writing this new book, as mentioned. So there's that. But I've also been writing a lot of poems, in between. I just have these moments of gratitude, even though it's been a complete 180 really for my life since the pandemic. I mean, I was, yes, performing and in singing throughout the city, but I also was in corporate America in the tech industry for almost 5 years as well. And I'm not doing that anymore. So now, and it's for me, I am not questioning the timing because I had wanted to step back from corporate, but at the same time, I knew the role inside and out, and then there's a certain comfort level of what to expect. And also, you always sometimes you find a way of talking yourself out of the timing. There's sometimes people say there's no such thing as a perfect timing, and sometimes you're just sitting around waiting for the perfect timing. And in a way, that might have been what I was doing, because it's scary to leave it something that you know. So for me, this process has really been about a lot of reflection since COVID, and a lot of reflection, a lot of self discovery, a lot of just working on inner growth, and like I said, the and a lot of, and sometimes grief. You know, I lost a really good friend of mine who I used to work with, and another colleague as well. And so just taking those moments to honor and reflect on their memory, but also be thankful. And I now more than ever feel this sense of like, I want to get done what I feel needs to be done in my purpose, which is to serve and give back through writing, and hoping that it can help people who, like I said, the biggest thing for me is wanting to reach people who have felt very unsure of their existence and their purpose and journey. And the other thing that's really big for me is, you know, one of the things that I did also prior to COVID was I went into high schools and I taught music workshops and things like that. So just also now figuring out how to connect on that level in this virtual world too. So yeah.
It's just amazing just to hear that. It almost just feels like we've been in this space, this COVID space, this pandemic space so much longer than we have.
Hmm.
Like, granted, it's been nearly a year now and
Yes.
everything, but it just feels like so much has happened. We have experienced so much, we have gone through so much, we have learned so much, heard so much. It's just like, wow, like this really just feels like a book. Really a book, but it's always just amazing to hear what comes out of it, from the creative side, from the entrepreneurial side, from the motivational side, from the service side, financial, spiritual, just every, just really how this has shaped, just really has this, how this time in our life has shaped a lot of different things, shaped a lot of different people's lives and perspectives and everything like that. So now with this new year, kind of with new administration, with a new approach maybe to this COVID-19 thing and just this pandemic and this new space, is there anything that you, Rachel, are looking forward to, from the creative side, just to get into, whether it be something that you were able to, kind of tap into last year or do already, whether it's something new that you kind of, a new journey that you want to embark on, or just anything that you're excited? I know you said you didn't want to reveal too much with your book and everything, so I definitely do know that that's something that you're looking forward to, me as well. But is there anything in the coming months, in the coming year, that you're really excited to, be a part of?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, there's the book that I'm really excited about. To be honest, I would love to get into to speaking. Like that's the segue that's on my mind as a next big step, is to get into public speaking and you know, traveling speaking. I feel very comfortable on stage, and now I feel very comfortable in what I feel my purpose is. I mean, I do think that your purpose is always changing in some ways as you evolve. But for me, where I feel now is like I said, you know, opening up and sharing my story is, you know, like I said, turning your mess into your message, as someone who's gone through so much to the point where it felt overwhelming at times, to saying like, okay, well, for me, I had to take a step back and say, all right, well, you're still here, and you're still here for a reason. So you're either gonna like stay stuck in the fact that certain things happen, or you're gonna say, okay, how can I help others with this message, or how can I be of service to others? So what's on my radar is getting into public speaking. So whoever wants to bring me on your stage, I am ready to make that move into that step. And yeah, hopefully things can open up some before the year is up and I can hit a stage or two again with the band.
All right, now, for those out there listening, Rachel is trying to hit the stage. I'm trying to hit the stage too, honestly. So I definitely
Right?
want to throw my name out there just the same. I definitely, yes, absolutely. Something that's really on my bucket list. I've always wanted to give a TED talk. I've always just, it was
Ooh.
something that I was introduced to in high school. Yeah. And we were just, my English teacher, actually, he was really fond of them. So we would come in sometimes. In particular, book we were reading called Freakonomics that just, highlighted a lot of just different things, from statistical things to just history to just a lot of just different things that we didn't know that we should know.
Mm-hmm.
So we would watch a lot of TED talks that kind of covered the topics and different things like that. And I was just like, wow, like these people, are really inspirational. I really have really taken time out to really do this. And so I love public speaking. That was probably my favorite course in high school and college and
Yes.
even in grad school. So I definitely do want to be able to do something like that. So yeah, we definitely going to hit some stages in
Mm-hmm.
2021 and beyond. I'm really, 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 really,
Manifesting it and
really
putting it
excited
out
for that.
there.
Absolutely. I was when I first kind of followed you back when we were able to connect on Clubhouse some weeks back. I really just scrolled through your page and it was just amazing to see so much content. It was just, I was clicking through some of the videos, I was listening to some of the things that you do, from just the poetry to just the content. It was just amazing. It was just how much you see people, like just how you're able to really put a face to the name. I was immediately able to do that. I was okay, this is Rachel. She's really a storyteller. Like, this is really, what she does. So where would you say a lot of that, where does that motivation come from, to create that content? What is that drive? Like, what really keeps you going on those days when, like you said, sometimes you wake up and you really just, you don't want to create. Nobody is perfect 100% of the times. We all have bad days. We all go through different things, go through different moods, go through different just phases in our life. So what is it like for you, really just being able to wake up, being able to continuously create and impact those around you and those that are listening and following you?
Honestly, I'm really intrigued by people. I really am intrigued by people and different types of people. I think something that comes very naturally to me is to be around various backgrounds. I don't, it really doesn't matter to me what ethnicity, religion, all of that. Like, I'm just not hung up on those things. And so it's enabled me to just see people at different levels and angles and through different lenses. And so I bring that to my writing, but I just love to watch people and how we interact with each other, how we talk to each other, how we treat each other. I used to live in Queens, New York prior to moving here in New Jersey, and I remember one time I was standing at the bus stop, waiting to take the bus home, and there was this lady, and her eyes were like bloodshot red. I could tell that she was completely strung out. And standing there at the bus stop, I just started writing a song that I have called Red Eyes, where I'm literally talking about being able to see her pain and feel her pain. Because a lot of people were, when you see certain people, whether it's someone homeless on the street or what have you, a lot of people, some people, maybe I shouldn't say a lot, but some people have this very dismissive attitude, as if they no longer see that human in front of them, right? And so for me, I just looked at her and I could see the pain in her eyes. And so there's a line where I say, "Felt her pain in mine." And it's a different type of pain, right? But I could still recognize it. So my inspiration just comes from like looking around at what's happening in the world, and then of course my own experiences. Like I said, whether that's with love, heartbreak, or just getting through the world and day to day. So.
Hold on now. I thought she was about to hit us with some,
Oh.
with the whole song, but no, I definitely do. I understand that, and and I like that. I heard the whole switch, the tone, and everything. So I definitely like that. I like how you can just on the spot whenever. But no, I really do love that. As someone who, coming from busy cities, from Philadelphia, as someone who travels a lot, has seen the homeless populations in cities like Chicago and New Orleans, and then and just it now coming down to Florida and just seeing different things like that, being in New York and seeing it, even spending some time in New Jersey and seeing it just like that. As someone who has always just, I will say, I will definitely say, I've changed my approach. I've changed my mindset. At first, I've really never, like you said, sometimes I didn't see the human in that people. I would just be
I'm sure I've been
judgmental. I
guilty
would
of
be
that too,
hypocritical. I
so
would be
it's not a
for
judgmental
sure,
statement at
for
all.
sure. Absolutely. And it's just like, but it's just crazy to think now how I actually just, I just finished dropping off. Every time I go to Target, there's kind of like this group of probably like 4 or 5 people, men and women, that sit, they hold up signs that are saying like homeless or anything helps and everything. So every time I go into Target, I try to just grab them, a case of water, some apples, some chips or something like that, just because you really never know.
Hmm.
You really never know kind of what everybody's going through the story. Everybody carries a different, everybody carries a different weight. And you really just, so you really just have to spread that love, be kind in all endeavors and everything like that. So I love that, that you can, where just inspiration, it's just always amazing to hear where inspiration can come from, how inspiration can really come about and how it can serve different people in different ways. So just everything that you really talked about today, I really just love it. I love the passion that you have, not only for wanting to be a storyteller, but really just wanting to be able to connect with people, really just wanting to be able to create, just be able to share a space with people and not only make yourself more vulnerable, but also serve as people who have also been vulnerable in the past, whether they can help it or not. So I really, continue to commend you. I'm really excited, for the new year. I'm excited for the release of the book and the content. I definitely got to stay tapped in and plugged in with you for
Yeah,
sure,
and
for
vice
sure. So I'm looking
versa,
forward to
definitely.
all of that and then some. So, oh yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that. So before we wrap things up, before we close out and we give the people the information as to where they can find you and things like that on social media, is there anything today that you feel like we haven't touched on that you think the people out there tuning in should know?
Not necessarily. I guess I would just say, like, try to take it easy on yourself and everyone else. Like I said, I think everyone could say, just speaking in terms of where we're at right now, I think everyone could say, like, they've had highs and lows, So just take it easy on yourself and do the best that you can. And I'm super grateful for you having me on here. This really was an awesome conversation and feels very seamless.
Man, it's crazy that people, always just come on here and thank me for, wanting to come on and everything that they're having them on. And no, I truly, and I will continue to echo it, continue to say, I thank y'all. I thank each and every person, for really coming on here to just share, to just have a conversation with me, especially more recently with a lot of the people who I've never really even met, like, face to face or aside from connecting on Clubhouse. I just love the power of just being able to connect with like-minded individuals, with individuals out there who are passionate about what they do, getting it out to others and really being able to connect. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, just for sharing this space with me, for sharing this time with me. I'm definitely looking forward to, what is to come. And to everybody out there, I definitely do hope that you heed Rachel's message and just taking it easy on yourself, taking some time for yourself. There is really a lot going on. It's really a
A
lot
lot.
going on. If you just think about sometimes how the days can just the days can just almost run by each other.
I
I really
promise you,
just, with
sometimes
my
I
work
don't know what
schedule,
day it
working
is.
Sunday, absolutely, like in my work schedule, I work Sunday through Wednesday. So sometimes me starting my work week on Sunday, and that's kind of like the rest day, it throws me off just a little bit. So when Tuesday, Wednesday come around, and it's like my Thursday and my Friday for the week, and other people are kind of just halfway through the week, and now I'm off Thursday, and I'm waking up thinking, this what day is it today? Friday or Saturday? Or the weekends feel long. So it's really just a lot going on. So really, just take some time to breathe, to elevate, to live, and everything will truly be okay. So Rachel, just before we close up too, can you just tell everybody out there, for everybody, just looking forward to your book release, just looking for some content that you already have out there, looking to get in tune with you as far as your performances and things that you've done in the past and things that you're doing currently, where can they find you on social media and all the platforms that you have?
Sure. So I currently have my short story on Amazon and Apple Books. Memories That Linger by Rachel Burrell. And then I have two EPs on SoundCloud and Apple Music, Warrior Woman and This Is Love. And I currently don't have a set date for release date for the book yet. Still very new in the process. But as far as content that I have out now, you can check out Memories That Linger on Amazon. And you can check out my website, Pulse for Purpose, PulseForPurpose.com, where I focus on highlighting people who are living in their purpose. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much. And I'll definitely make sure to include all of that in the bio when this episode is released. So to everybody out there, I will definitely continue to say it time and time again. Thank you all. Thank you for just everything that you do, for, showing love, for sharing, for liking, for tuning in, for just supporting the vision, for following along, for serving as a resource. And Rachel, I really, just want to thank you again for sharing this space with me, for coming on, for everything that you do and will continue to do as time progresses. And for everybody out there listening, this has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast, here with Tamar Turner.
Thank you.